Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Smooth Golf Podcast. I'm your host, DJ, and today we're going to be talking about a few things. Firstly, kind of what I intended for 2026. Um, Basically, I had a whole lot of stuff planned for it, and just kind of go over what all that was. Then we're going to talk about what exactly happened, why things didn't go exactly as planned, what happened and kind of like why I kind of been out of commission for a while. And then we're gonna also talk about, what's things gonna look like moving forward, like what am I gonna be doing, and things like that, including like some changes that may have to be made because of certain situations. So without further ado, we're gonna get right into it. So first off, what did I have intended for 2026? Well, for one, I kind of had a full schedule that I had planned for 2026. It was going to be, again, another season full of weekly challenge golf tour events. Had a lot of success with them, a lot of top fives, a couple of wins with them. So, and then plus I did like the tour itself, so I definitely was gonna definitely support them once again by registering as a member and playing their events again. I also had planned to play on this new tour that got introduced for 2026 called the Rev Tour. Um, and it was going to be at local courses like South Shore, Jackson Park, and the like. So I was like, okay, cool, that's going to be great. Another local tour that plays, local courses around me. So it will be easy to kind of just play those and, have something to play on for the season. So all the way up until about April, I was preparing to play basically like I said, a full schedule, trying to, get through everything. Um, but now we're gonna go into like, kind of what happened through 2026 thus far, in terms of like, personal things and stuff like that. So first things first, this is the part that kind of sucked. I ended up losing a job that, was definitely going to help with being able to register for tournaments and stuff like that. Um, I was an English tutor for high school, and due to budget cuts, I ended up getting cut from the staff, which definitely sucked, especially like with the whole cut happening literally the day that we get back from spring break. So I was like, that kind of sucked for a while. And then not only that, I didn't even get my last paycheck until like almost 2 months later. So then it was like, dang, like I'm really getting screwed up a little bit over here. And then to follow all of that up, as many of you guys know, I had a dog that I had for 3 years. His name was Oreo. And you know, I had been trying to give him the best life that he could have. Like I said, I had him for 3 years, and like towards the end of April, um, he usually slept with me in the bed and stuff like that. So one day we were both sleeping. I got up to go do something, and then I had touched his tail, which caused him to have a um, trauma response, trauma reaction, and he bit at my finger and actually clamped down on it. And it was one of those moments. It was kind of like, I had to make a decision in that moment. It was either try to pry his hand, well, not his hand, um, his teeth and everything off my finger, or I had to kick him off. And in that moment, I made the split second decision to kick him off me. And in the process, definitely ripped up my index finger. Um, if you got, I do have pictures of the entire injury. If anybody ever wants to see it, I suggest not seeing it because my finger definitely looked like something out of Frankenstein or anything like that. So yeah, so that happened. I spent most of basically a good portion of the summer trying to recover from that. A lot of antibiotics, a lot of wrapping my finger, letting the stitches, do its thing, and um, let's just say I just was not in the best of mental spaces after a while because I then had to turn him in to the city of Chicago because he again, as part of his trauma, he got aggressive with me a couple more times, tried to attack me. And so yeah, so I had to turn him in, and unfortunately, he had to get put down, which I was definitely not a fan of because he, even though yeah, he bit me and whatever the case may be, I still thought he was a sweet boy, and he was my I always say he was my son through a lot of stuff. Um, Bad relationships, um, disappointments with golf rounds and stuff like that. Like he was there for everything. And yeah, last few months was hard, but it's like I still enjoyed having him around and things like that. So, for him to get put down was devastating for me. And then not only that, I wasn't in a good mental space because, the finger injury caused me to not be able to do the things that I like to do. Like I like to bowl, I like to play golf, and I couldn't do both of those things because the finger couldn't handle one at that time. Still dealing with the stitches and stuff like that. It couldn't handle, you know, any kind of weight, and then not only that, trying to hit a golf club with a finger that's practically almost mangled, even if it's just a tip. Um, it definitely threw my feels off. So I ended up not really doing much of anything. Um, for quite a while. And that that's the part that sucked. It's like, there was definitely a time where some depression set in because one, I was sad about the fact that, I ended up losing what I felt was like a son to me, a little bit of a best friend. And then not being able to do the things that I like to do was also hard enough in and of itself. So, um, so yeah, it was it was not a fun time, and I had to try to find something else to do to keep myself sane. So I got back into some of my old hobbies, playing Yu-Gi-Oh, um, trying to do a little YouTube series with a game that I used to play a while back. Still play it, but not as often. Actually, ended up doing the season two, or started the season two of that YouTube series after I finally finished season one. But it was just trying to find something to not fall into an even darker place, if you will. So yeah, it's just it was it was not a fun time. Now though, the fingers practically healed up. I actually played a few rounds this year. A couple of them, one being with Boss of a New Job, and then one with a lesson. So the first round I played post injury was at Jackson Park. I was playing with a student of mine. I'm gonna give him a shout out here, Aylin. I met him back in like May, and he's been working hard on getting this game together. He's been, working with me, and he's been doing some good things, and still willing to help him out. I'm actually gonna check up on him as soon as I get the chance to. But yeah, so played Jackson Park with him because I intended for him to try to play in the junior amateur. Um, and found that I still got my game. Playing the front nine, I looked at four fairways, which was I could have hit more fairways, but it could have been better, whatever the case may be. But I hit seven greens in regulation out of nine. So yeah, I was already like, okay, we might be in a good spot here in terms of my game. Um, Problem is, I did not convert on a lot of those greens in regulations. except for maybe like one or two, and it's fine, especially like with it being like the first kind of full round, or I wouldn't even say full round because we didn't even finish all 18. But as a first full round, I wasn't mad about it. Um, so front nine, four fairways, seven greens. Let's see, two, four, six, seven, nine, 10, 16 putts on the front nine, and with two up and down. So I'm like, you know what, I can deal with that. Because I even came out of the front nine with 34, so I was one under through nine holes. Got to the back nine, and um, like I said, still kept the play at least consistent. Um, had one bogey, which was on the par 3 13th. Just didn't really um well, I hit a good shot, but it was just long of where I wanted to be. So it was just like, I had to tip back to the pin and, just two putted from there. But overall, five five greens for the holes that we did play, so 10 through 15, which is actually still pretty good considering that like, I still had 16, 17, and 18 left. We didn't play the full round because we were starting to lose sunlight, but still pretty good. Um, Only hit one fairway, which again could have been better, but I also still only had like three more holes left, which we couldn't get done. So it's like, it is what it is. Birdied the par 5 15th, which honestly was great. I had to play it as a three shotter because I definitely did not hit a good tee shot on that one, but it is what it is. So basically for that round, finished with one under par for 15 holes, five fairways. Again, could have been better, but it is what it is. Considering like it's like my first round, I can't be mad at that. You know, especially after having this kind of injury. And then 12 greens, also pretty damn good. Um, with 11 putts through that back nine, so it's like it could have been better, could have been worse, but I was happy with at least with that performance from that round. And then good thing is now I did find another job. I'm a golf instructor again with Chicago Built Athletics. Um, Actually played around with my new boss Rob, who has been treating me very well thus far. Trying to get me lessons the best that he can with um, his kids and other kids, and also setting up camps and stuff like that. You know, just trying to build my book out a little bit. So got to play Rabbit Slow with him before officially kind of signing on, and again had a pretty decent day out on the course. So finished the front nine, three over with 38. Um, Bogey the par five, which is something that I never want to do. Bogey to par four right after that, and just trying to, stop the bleeding as best as I can. There was another par four that I bogeyed, which I was like, okay, it is what it is. This is only my second round post injury, post recovery, whatever the case may be. Only hit two fairways, which again looks like I'm gonna be going back into some off the tee training, but we'll get to that when I get to it. But I hit seven greens in regulation. Um, no, six, seven, yes, like seven greens in regulation. Doing the front nine, so I'm not mad. It is what it is. I did three putt one hole, which Lord forgive me, I'm gonna give myself some push-ups or squats to deal with that one. But it is what it is. Then we get to the back nine again, another three putt, and especially on a hole where I hit both the fairway and the green. That's not something that I'm wanting to do, especially like if I'm gonna get ready for a tournament or whatever the case may be. Um, got up and down for a bogey the next hole after that, and definitely like I played still like I said pretty decently for being post um finger injury. Ended up shooting 40 on the back, which I'm like, it is what it is. Had a couple holes where I kind of, I wouldn't say blew up, but it was like a couple poor decisions here and there. One on tee shots, maybe on like an approach shot too. But did see that I was hitting some decent shots out there. Hit 5 greens, which I was like, that's cool for me. Could be more, could be less. If it's less, not good. More, absolutely fantastic. Um, like 3 fairways um on that back nine too. So in total, 5 fairways total, 12 greens, which is pretty solid. I would like to hit all of them, but anywhere between 12 and 15, I'm having a good day. Um, Shooter score is 78, which I'm okay with. Of course, I would want to be lower, but like I said, post finger injury, I can't exactly be mad about that. Um, Now, what does the future look like? Currently, right now, I'm actually working on, well, basically working on a tournament prep series on the YouTube channel. So if you guys would like, please definitely go check that out. So I am actually prepping for a tournament right now. It's going to be the Chicago Park Districts. I believe it's the Midwest Am. It's going to be at City Yard Maravich on August 22nd and 23rd. I played in it a while, like a long while back. So it's gonna be nice to actually go back there and play it again. Um, and then from there, basically it's just figuring out what I need for 2027 and getting ready. Um, I'm already kind of figuring out like, what equipment I may need and stuff like that, and trying to figure out, how um like what else I'm gonna need because I know I'm gonna need some, I'm definitely gonna try for some different shirts and stuff like that, and golf balls. So there's definitely going to be probably a few changes within my golf equipment, but not too much. Um, but we're just going to see, what we can get from there. And also, there's going to be some like little bit of changes with practice routines and stuff like that. So we're just kind of mapping out what 2027 is going to look like. Um, Also, now mentally, I'm in a better place. I have a new dog, my baby girl Mighty, who is now asleep on my bed for like can't even sleep in her own bed now because she's just knocked out. Um, but she has been a sweetheart the past couple days that I've had her, so it is what it is. She's cute, she's cuddly, and it took a lot for me to kind of open up to bring her here because, Taylor was still going through the grief of knowing that, oil was gone and stuff like that. But yeah. So that's good. That's the episode. Like I said, just kind of a little bit of an update here. Now I'm gonna be doing a little bit more with the podcast. Um, Last year was kind of rough because I was going through a whole lot of personal stuff, which I don't even feel like going through all of that at the moment. Um, but yeah, so we're gonna be going through more of the podcast, trying to get more out there. And then again, if you guys would like to support the journey, I am trying to get to the point where I get to go to Corn Ferry Tour qualifying or even PJ Tour Latino America qualifying and work my way onto the PGA Tour. So if you guys would like to support, definitely, like, subscribe, and even go to my website, smoovgolf.com. That's also going to let you know how you can support. And everything like that. So definitely check that out. If you guys want golf lessons, like I said, I am a golf instructor as well. So two ways that you can kind of get me. First, they're still kind of building this. So, Chicago Built Athletics, that's what I'm going to be doing my lessons through as of right now. So, once that's up on the website, on their website, you can go to chicagobuiltathletics.com and you can book your lessons through there. Or you can also get in contact with me. You can go through smoothgolf.com, or if you would like, I can also send you my business card, or whatever the case may be. You just gotta leave me a way to get in contact with you. Um, well, thank you guys for listening. Like I said, if you guys want to support, check out those links, smoothgolf.com, and then also for your lessons, smoothgolf.com or chicagobuiltathletics.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.